Hello everyone. Welcome to CMMR2023. I am a General Chair of CMMR2023 KG. And we, the organizing committee and all of the staff of CMMR2023, welcome you all and please enjoy the conference greatly and highly. Okay, and to begin with my opening session, so I would like to say I touch my little private experience. I have been participating in the CMMR, the past CMMR conferences several times since 2004-03, and so I have been experienced many academic research environment, and I was very grateful to, and I feel very thank to such an experience and the conference. The many people have created such an opportunity to cultivate and accumulate such field related to the computer and the music. And so it's my turn to create, give you a new experience or the place where we and hold this conference. So as you know, this is the first in-person conference in 4 years because of the COVID. So I, and not only I, but also you all feel the same feeling. This is very happy, and we can enjoy the research activity in person. So I hope you all, of course, I want to enjoy this opportunity, the place, and the time and space. This is my feeling, straight, the live feeling. Okay, and so we decided the conference theme, as shown here, the music, bridge after the turmoil. We had, of course, everyone knows the big turmoil, but now we can have an in-person conference like this. So bridge we have many meanings about bridge. The first three is we were divided by COVID disaster, but we can share and we can be here again together. This is very happy. And also the music is a kind of a bridge to work in many ways. The first one is to bring different things together. The second is unite things that are far apart. The third is overcome academic changes. Those are closely related to multidisciplinary research. That is the kind of a name of CMMR. Okay? And I have to appreciate show our great gratitude to the sponsors. First one is the special interest group of music and computer, SIGMUS for short. This is the distinguished sponsor, the greatest. The second, the gold sponsor, the Piano Teachers National Association of Japan, the PTNA for short. The third, the silver sponsor, the Yamaha Corporation, as you probably know well. The fourth one is a commercial sponsor, the Krypton Future Media Incorporated. The Krypton is very famous as a creator of Hatsune Miku and also Japan-based company. Those are the logos of those sponsor companies. Please remember. And also, I and the organizing committee and all not only us but also you, have to thank to reviewers of papers and the music pieces. We had a scientific program committee consisting of 54 people, and the music programming program committee had 4 people to review the submitted works. And about music, we had 17 submissions. Out of them, we accepted 4 work. Also, we will have 3 keynote talks. One is the Yi Shan Yang, the Taiwan National Taiwan University. He will make a keynote talks tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, the Professor Shigeki Sagayama, he is very famous of the sound or acoustics. He also makes a keynote talks in Wednesday. On Thursday, the Professor Tatsuya Daikoku will make a presentation to open the new horizon about the computer and the music field, research field. He is very good at neuroscience or the brain science. Also, we had 3 special sessions dedicated to the new technology related to the computer and music. And the first one is the music and sound generation, organized by Dr. Kento Akama. The second, the singing information processing, organized by Tomoyasu Tanaro. He's sitting over here. And also the Dr. Eita Nakamura will organize the computational research on music information. Yes, he's here. I'm very forward to hearing those special sessions. And about the little bit statistics of CMMR2023. And this slide shows you the percentages of presentation participants by country. The presentation participants including the oral presentation, will be done in this conference room. Also, we will have a poster presentations on the second floor. And, as you see easily, the Japan portion is very big, and it occupies about 40%. And the second biggest one is maybe the people from France or South Korea and the United States. And this slide shows you the numbers of participants. Not only presentation, but just attending the conference. Then of course, this is we are here in Japan, so it is very natural to the Japanese participants is biggest. And currently, in this morning, we count the 161 participants to come. Among them, the 89 people are Japanese. And out of the 161, the non-student is 87, and the 74 students participants. Other than Japan, yes, about 10 or at the most participants we will have. And this slide shows you percentage of non-author participants by country. So those slides shows you the number of people who don't have a presentation. Of course, Japan occupies many portions. And also, this is a name list of the CMMR2023 organizing committee members. Maybe we may have an introduction section in a welcome party following this session in this evening. And in the booklet of the program of this conference, at the last page, you can see the same program on this like this. So this evening we will have a welcome reception, and the day after tomorrow we will have a concert in the evening. The Thursday night social dinner. Please enjoy and please come together. Yes, that's the end of my talk in the opening session. After me, the Professor Tetsuo Kitahara will talk about the things about the program committee. Enjoy this week.
Okay.
You don't.
Hi, my name is Tatsunori Nihon University from Japan. I'm the program chair of this conference at CMMR 2023. Okay, welcome to CMMR 2020. Oh no, 2021? No, 2023. Okay, so why we hold CMMR in Tokyo? So we'd like you to enjoy the stay in Tokyo, and we'd like you to understand the high activity of the Japanese community of computer music research, and we'd like you to enjoy worldwide communication involving Asian, European, and other areas communities. But we could not achieve that with an online conference in 2021. So we, Tokyo team, decided to hold CMMR again in Tokyo this year. So this conference is the first conference, first in-person conference after the COVID pandemic. Okay. So this conference theme was mentioned by Hirata-san. Okay. So we have many various presentation styles. So one overall, poster, and demo. So our presentations were will be done here, and so it's not so large room. So we have another room on the first floor, so ground floor. So on the ground floor, so the same content will be broadcasted. Okay. So if this room is full, so you can move to that room. And poster and demo will be done afternoon on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. Okay. So the poster and demo will be so located in conference rooms on second floor. Okay, so this is the information of numbers of submissions. Okay, so we received 83 papers, including long and short papers. Okay, we accepted 37 papers as an oral presentation and 25 presentations as 25 papers as a poster presentation. So one of the features of this conference is a demo session. So actually, we set the deadline very late. So the deadline of the demo papers was later than the notification of long and short papers. So this is one idea. So we promote you to participate this conference. And so if you haven't joined the CMMR2023 Slack workspace, so please join this. So you can get some important announcement from the organizers. And if you are a presenter, so you can send supplementary materials to participants on the Slack workspace. Okay? And you can discuss very many topics about the presentations they done. So in the Slack, actually, so we have different channels for different sessions. So if you have questions or comments or something like that, so you can post messages on Slack to the designated channel. Okay, please enjoy the conference. Thank you very much.
Okay, the program goes earlier than planned. So the next session is the sponsored talk. So first of all, are you ready, Yakano-san? We have two sponsored talks. The first one it is from the Sigmas by Nakato-san. The second from PTR and talked by Jitsukata-san. Okay, the first one.
Can I use my own PC?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, can try that out. Hello CMMR. So, welcome to Japan. And many congratulations on holding CMMR2023. My name is Tomoyasu Nakano. I'm with Ystad Japan. Today I'd like to introduce Information Processing Society of Japan, a special interest group on music and computer called SIGMUS. I was the 14th Chief Examiner of SIGMUS from FY 2019 to 2020. Let's talk about, on behalf of SIGMUS, I'd like to introduce SIGMUS activities and goals. SIGMUS is proud to support CMMR2023 as a distinguished sponsor. SIGMUS is a domestic research group in Japan that aims to contribute to music and computer research worldwide, both in terms of research and human resources. SIGMUS has been active for 30 years, mainly in Japan and some internationally. SIGMUS covers a wide range of research fields related to music and computers and supports multidisciplinary research centered on music, which is the purpose of CMMR. After the corona disaster, we can enjoy music and computer research again, and we greatly support the conference theme, Music Bridge After the Turmoil. Here we can see the two charts. One bar chart indicates the number of registrants, and the line chart indicates the number of presentations on SIGMUS. As you can see, the number of presentations increases year by year, averaging 100 presentations over 10 years. And currently, 277 residents registered in SIGMUS. We have 138 meetings in total so far. And also, you can find the manga introducing the usual SIGMUS activities in August. This year, August, you can access this URL by using the QR code. You find the unfortunately it's in Japanese only, but you can find the manga introducing. And then SIGMUS is a domestic society, but we owe some international activities. Many SIGMUS registrants have served as responsible committee members for international conferences on music and computer held in Japan. ICMC 1993, Sadamu Hotel and Shuji Hashimoto worked as conference chairs. Keiji Hirata worked as local committee chair. Izmir 2009 held in Kobe. General chairs were Masataka Goto and Ichiro Fujinaga, and program chairs were George Zanetakis and Keiji Hirata. And also, CMMR 2021 and 2023 held in online and Tokyo University of Science. The committee members of these two CMMRs almost overlap, most of whom are SIGMUS registrants. Here is a list of successful chief examiner of SIGMUS. I think you can find some names you know. With these internationally active researchers as chief examiners, SIGMUS promotes research on music and computer in Japan. And people in blue, I have confirmed, I found on the Slack, and here you can find these people to talk with as SIGMUS. And the goal or the possible future direction to encourage more students to become interested in music and computer research. SIGMUS students receive a large discount on CMMR 2023 fee. As you can see, so students can pay only 2,000 Japanese yen or 3,000 Japanese yen. It's amazing price, I think, So this will give students members the opportunity to have more active communication and collaboration with researchers around the world. For example, it would be nice to have invited talks and joint meetings. I believe this kind of activity or this kind of discount will pave the way for the future in music and computer research. We wish CMMR2023 a great success. Enjoy Japan, enjoy CMMR2023. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, let's move on to the second talk from the sponsors. The Jitsukata-san, okay. Can you connect to your PC too?
Hello everyone. My name is Jitsukata, and I am from the Piano Teachers National Association. Our organization is abbreviated as PTNA and pronounced as PITINA. I am also the director of the PTNA Music Research Institute, PRIM. It is established in 2022. I am honored to have this opportunity to address you as a start of CMMR 2023. The COVID-19 pandemic has restricted many of our activities over the past few years, but now we are able to come together in this way. First of all, I would like to congratulate everyone who has worked so hard to make this meeting possible. Also, on the same music bridge after the turmoil, we, PITINA, as well, experienced a great turmoil in 2020. We could not continue the piano competition with the which had been our main business. But it was also time when new ideas and businesses were born. Now, I'd like to introduce PITINA and explain why I am standing here. As its name suggests, Piano Teachers National Association is an organization for piano teachers. It was founded in 1966. The founder is Yasuko Fukuda. The current chairperson is Fumio Tateishi, former chairman of Omron Corporation. He was inaugurated the position in June of this year. The CEO is Seiko Fukuda, son of the founder. Under the management of Fukuda, PITINA has continued to expand its organization and business for 30 years up to the present. This graph shows the number of members for 30 years since 1990. As you can see, the current number of members is about 18,000. Among them 14,500 are piano teachers. The rest are composers, music researchers, piano tuners, music lovers, and family members of students. Our core business is the service of providing performance opportunities. The PTNA piano competition is a domestic event, but one of the largest piano competitions in the world. It is open to participants from infants to adults. It is a red part of the bar graph. The blue bars show the number of participants in the PTNA piano step. Step is another important performance event to which all ages piano learners can attend. There is no competition, but participants can get advice from pianists or teachers. Affiliated competitions are events organized by other companies, but supported by PTNA. The total number of participants reached about 100,000 last year. As I mentioned earlier, 14,500 members are piano teachers. The number of students is estimated at 350,000. There are 650 branches that support the activities of our members. They are operated by local music stores, music schools, and piano teachers groups. The headquarters office is located in Tokyo. I am a staff member there and a member of the board of trustees. The purpose of PTNA is to promote music culture. To this goal, we provide a place for piano teachers and students to study together. In addition to competitions, PTNA has conducted a wide variety of piano-related projects such as seminars, concerts, and research. These are made possible by the volunteer efforts of many of our members. After many discussions with our members, we announced the vision of PTNA in May of this year. It is our lives enriched by music. Now I would like to talk about PTNA's computer using. PTNA has been using information technology since the 1990s. I believe this has led to our growth over the past 30 years. The first example is member information management. It is the base of our business. Since we started this system early, now we have abundant data to make use of. The second example is office management system for competitions. We have developed our own system for the administration. Participants' information is linked to their teachers' one, the works they played, and the results of the scoring. The third is a scoring system for competition judging. Since competitions are conducted in a variety of environments, we have developed a web application easy to use. It works even if the computer performance is not high. The widespread use of this system has enabled accurate and smooth competition management. The next is e-learning system. PTNA conducts about 700 seminars per year. During the COVID-19 pandemic, online seminars and workshops became rapidly popular. PTNA e-learning is a subscription service that provides video recordings of seminars. The number of users exceeds 4,000 this year. Next is lesson time. This application is designed to support piano schools. It has various functions such as managing student information, calendar, and homework assignments. It aims to enhance the effect of lessons by improving communication between teachers and students. This is the Iketa project. Iketa means I can play. It is a joint project with NTT East and Keio University. We will research and develop a system to help piano learners practice spontaneously and support their progress. Iketa will be able to suggest practice pieces according to the learning progress. We are also developing an AI-based automatic scoring function for sounds and rhythms. The last one is Piano Encyclopedia. I am editor-in-chief of this website, so let me introduce some details. I started working on piano music encyclopedia in 2002. In the beginning, it was a sounding encyclopedia for music lovers and learners to use and enjoy. Fortunately, we were able to obtain the cooperation of pianists, musicologists, publishers, record companies, and others who agreed with the main purpose of the project. The graph shows the total number of web page views and video views. Total traffic in recent years has been around 30 million. Thousands of people visit the encyclopedia every day. This is the current number of contents in the piano encyclopedia. Information on 85,000 works and 8,000 musicians is available. It links to 27,000 performance videos which are available on YouTube. There are about 7,000 descriptions, 15,000 sheet music, and their tables of contents. The chart shows the main stakeholders and their relationships with the encyclopedia. So far, the Piano Encyclopedia has not produced much revenue. However, I believe that it has created a lot of value indirectly. Our present goal is to make music IDs usable for various projects within and outside of PTN. As a first step, we are working on linking information of piano works played in competitions to music IDs of the piano encyclopedias. We are considering the use of ISWC, International Standard Musical Work Code. But we believe that our music IDs will have great value as well. This is because ISWC's primary use is for copyright management, and music IDs can be issued flexibly for public domain music. The Piano Encyclopedia might more accurately be called Keyboard Music Encyclopedia. There is also a lot of information on works for keyboard instruments before the piano. The CMMR program includes many performances. I am sure there will be music for keyboard instruments, so I would love to introduce them in the encyclopedia. If you are interested, please contact me. You can also use this QR code linked to a Google form. So far, I have introduced the use of computers by Spitina. most of them have been to support music practices. As a result of our efforts over the past 30 years, we have accumulated a large amount of data related to music education, such as performance items and scoring results. These data should be useful for some kind of research. We would like to make them available to researchers. If you have any ideas, I would like you to contact the Pitina Research and Institute of Music. I will conclude my greetings by once again expressing my sympathy for CMMR. When Pitina first started using computers, CEO Fukuda was sometimes accused of saying that computers have no mind. I believe that many of those who said such things were older people who had never touched a computer. Such was who have a doubt or fear of the unknown. But now the phrase computers have no minds may be worth thinking about carefully. AI has made remarkable progress and is surpassing human capabilities in many areas. We have to consider many issues ranging from practical matters such as where is the copyright of computer-generated creations to philosophical questions such as where does mind come from? On the other hand, music is an expression of the human mind using the whole body. Therefore, I believe that exploring the relationship between music and computers now is expanding the possibilities of human beings. Pitina will continue to support a wide range of musical activities. We hope to cooperate with members of CMMR and contribute to the well-being of people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And okay, again, we would like to express our very big gratitude to for sponsors, including the Sigmas and Pitina. Thanks so much. Then, yes, the very first session will start at 15 o'clock, and I don't know about the preparation of a cafe and sweets corner on the second floor. I and Kitahara-san is asking about the staff, whether or not the coffee and the sweets corner is ready for you, but I didn't have an answer yet. So if you are brave, so please try to go up to the second floor and try to get the coffee and the sweets. But if you may fail, you don't guarantee. So the second, okay, the first session will start at this hall in the 15. Okay, and we have 15 minutes or 20 minutes?
20 minutes.
Okay. So we let's have a break. Hi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You can use the vending machine, so yeah, so please. If there is if there is the coffee corner under operation.
Then we will begin our first session in 1 minute, so please take a seat. Okay, let's start the first session of CMMR 2023. Hello everyone, I am Tatsunori Hirai from Omazawa University and the University of Canterbury. The session is the chair of this first session. Welcome to Tokyo. The first session of CMMR 2023 is Creative Music Systems. The presentation time is 15 minutes, followed by 5 minutes for questions and answers. I have prepared many questions using ChatGPT, but I don't want to use it, so please actually listen to the presentation and please give a question or comment by human. Thank you. If you are ready, please start the first presentation.
Okay. So good afternoon. My name is Takuya Takashi. Today I'd like to talk about controllable automatic melody composition from lyrics in accordance with music theory and multilinguistic characteristics. The major aim of this research is to build a model for automatic melody composition from lyrics. So what makes a coherent singing song? We believe that it can be a natural song only if it satisfies two main requirements. First, the musical requirements. It is essential that music should follow musical theory, ensuring the beautiful harmony and diverse development. And although adhering to music theory is a requirement for music in general, the linguistic characteristics of lyrics should also be considered for composing singing songs. In pitch accent languages such as Japanese, it has been statistically shown the correlation between lyric intonation and melody pitch movement. The well-known Japanese composer Kosaku Yamada has also written a book on composition based on similar principles. By following the linguistic characteristics, we can avoid misunderstanding the meaning of lyrics and improve singability. We consider songs that fulfills these requirements to be natural songs. For automatic music composition, it is necessary to design objective functions to satisfy these requirements mathematically. One approach is to use probabilistic models. By incorporating musical and linguistical requirements into the probabilistic parameters of such models, it yields an optimal solution based on relevant knowledge without any training data. We have proposed a model called Orpheus based on such a probabilistic modeling approach, which generates singing melodies from Japanese lyrics and compositional conditions. This model has been used over a decade by 30,000 users on the web service and resulting in 500,000 published songs. In contrast, it is also possible to model the problem using a data-driven approach. Such approaches have been actively researched, but current challenges include lack of data, controllability, diversity, and musical accuracy in terms of theoretical aspects. More data and better training methods could solve these challenges and achieve superior models, but at this stage, we formulate the problem using a probabilistic approach that is practical. In this study, we aim to build a universal automatic composition model that covers many languages in the world. In pitch-accented language such as Japanese, some syllables stand out more prominently than others due to pitch change. In music, as I mentioned before, lyric intonations should match the pitch movement of melody. Orpheus has realized automatic melody composition from Japanese lyrics based on these linguistic characteristics and music theory. So what about tonal language like Chinese? Tonal languages use pitch variations to convey meaning, including changes within syllables. So we have previously proposed a model that extends the original Orpheus principle to allow for pitch variation within a single syllable. So can similar principles be applied to stress accented languages such as English and German, where some syllables have more prominent accents than others due to changes in volume? Olivier et al. Reported statistically that stressed syllables in lyrics are more likely to be placed on a strong beat. I prepared some simple example. The first one is a sample where the stress position of the word and the strong beat are matched as close as possible, which sounds like this. Oops. Sorry, the PowerPoint is crashed. Just a moment, please. Okay, try again.
The bridge was falling down yesterday after lunch.
And the second one is the sample where the stress position of the word is purposely made less likely to be placed on the strong beat, which sounds like this.
The London Bridge was falling down yesterday evening.
As you can listen to from these samples, if the stress position of the word does not match the strong beat, the song is difficult to sing, listen to, and understand the meaning. However, the Orpheus approach only considers the relationship between the pitch of the melody and pitch intonation of lyrics. Therefore, in order to generate natural melodies for lyrics in the stress-accented languages, we extended the Orpheus approach to be able to consider the relationship between rhythm of melody and the stress position of lyrics. So we first built a probabilistic model for melody evaluation based on musical and linguistic requirements. The melody can also be thought of as a path in a two-dimensional trace on with the time on the horizontal axis and pitch on the vertical axis. The blue path has a low evaluation likelihood due to the dissonant notes and unnatural placement of syllables. The melody on the red path aligned with harmony and linguistic characteristics, so resulting high evaluation likelihood. We then consider melody generation to be the inverse program of melody evaluation, which is to obtain the most highly rated melody for given compositional conditions out of the vast number of possible melodies. The program of generating a melodic note sequence from the compositional conditions is viewed as a program of finding the best path on a two-dimensional hidden Markov model. In this model, the beta algorithm can efficiently search the entire two-dimensional trace to find the melody with the highest likelihood. However, the computational complexity of the model is large. Therefore, in this study, conditional independence of pitch and rhythm is assumed in practical, and formulated distinct one-dimensional HMMs. The pitch generator is the Orpheus model itself, and in this study, to adapt stress-accentuated languages, we introduced the rhythm generator. The rhythm generators should satisfy two requirements. The first is the linguistic constraint in stress-accentuated languages, which states that stress trebles should be pressed on a stronger beat. And also, the second requirement is that the user should have some control over the rhythm generation. For example, it is inevitable that they will want the same rhythm pattern for the first and second choruses. These requirements are reflected in the probabilistic parameters, and eventually the beta-B algorithm is used to find the most plausible solution. So how should the probabilistic parameters be determined? The linguistic characteristics in stress-accentuated language were formulated as the output probabilities of the HMM. The probability distribution was approximated by a number distribution with the beat intensity of the rhythm as a random variable and the stress intensity of each syllable as the mean. This distribution results in a high likelihood for rhythms where the beat intensity matches the stress or unstressed syllable. It also set the likelihood so that rhythms similar to the user-selected rhythm pattern are more likely to be generated. In Orpheus, the rhythm is determined by selecting rhythm tree, which bind the similar rhythms for each number of notes. As one solution to control generated rhythm patterns in our model, we built a function to calculate the likelihood based on user-selected rhythm tree and use them as the transition probabilities of the HMM. In this section, I will discuss the evaluation experiments for our proposed model. The similarity of melodic rhythms generated from the same rhythm tree but with different lyrics was investigated in Orpheus and the proposed model. 20 participants were recruited for the XAB test, in which the generated sound source X, A, and B, they were asked to select a sound source with a similar rhythm to X. As a result, the matching rate was approximately 75% for both, so the proposed model can respect the constraints of user-selected rhythm patterns as well as Orpheus. In addition, several automatic melody composition models were subjectively evaluated on the 3 indices: music coherence, singability, and listenability on the 5-point Likert scale. As comparisons, 4 state-of-the-art deep learning models trained on a large amount of data were compared with the conventional Orpheus and the proposed method, which does not use any training data and is based solely on music theory and linguistic characteristics. 3 lyrics were prepared in Japanese and 3 in English. However, the experiments with Japanese lyrics were only carried out with Orpheus and the proposed model due to the lack of the training data for deep learning model. And the stress position of Japanese lyrics was set based on the hypothesis that placing them at the beginning syllable of a word would make them clearer the semantic delimitation. The slide summarizes mean and standard error statistics for experimental results. In English lyrics, our proposed model outperformed the Orpheus in all metrics and rated higher than some deep learning models in coherence and listenability. Our model works without any training, relying on logical rules. Those results emphasize the importance of the logical aspect of music. In Japanese lyrics, our proposed method outperformed the Orpheus in all aspects, likely due to the pressing the first syllable of a word on a stronger beat, enhancing semantic delimitation in Japanese. Comparative sample sources for conventional orifice and the proposed method have been prepared. The first, the sound source of conventional orifice, which sounds like this. The next is the sound source of proposed methods, which sounds like this. The most obvious difference is the foreign part here, and where the conventional orifice which presses the stressed syllable on the weak beat, whereas the proposed method presses the stressed syllable on the strong beat with keeping the rhythm pattern. In conclusion, we proposed a probabilistic model for generating natural song melodies from user lyrics of various types of lyrics such as pitch-accented language and stress-accented languages. As a result of subjective evaluation, user-selected rhythm pattern can apply to generated melody in the proposed method, and our model equals to or better than compared approaches such as Orpheus and state-of-the-art deep learning models in terms of musical coherence, singability, and reversibility. In the future, further evaluation experiments for the machine-generated songs are planned, and also we aim to create a model that considers both pitch and rhythm simultaneously by addressing computational complexity. That's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions or comments from the audience? Okay. Please.
Hi. If I understand correctly, the Turby algorithm will consider the most likely solution.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you've considered sampling methods or something like that to explore the less likely options.
Yeah, I've prepared probabilistic parameters based on the music theory and introduced linguistic characteristics. So we've calculated the most plausible solution. So we've selected only the most plausible one. Is it your?
Yes, and I was wondering, you think it's worth pushing the model to explore some of the less possible, the less likely solutions, and whether you would get something interesting out of trying to do that?
Yeah, that's yeah. I think that's true. Yeah. So maybe we can use the N-based algorithm to find the less likely melodies, and maybe we can use the user selection from the N-based melodies, and maybe we can use the less likely melodies for our approach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please pass the mic.
Hi. You mentioned music theory as one of the constraints that you're using. But what kind of music theory is the one that you're actually targeting? Western music theory, jazz theory, classical theory?
Thank you for your question. We are using now the classical music theory for our method because the rule is very strict and it is very it is easy to get the algorithm to find it is easy to get the algorithm to compute.
But will it be possible to extend this to other theory systems? And if so, will it be difficult or not?
Yeah, maybe it's not difficult for the. It's not difficult, I think, to apply the other kind of genre music. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any short question or comment? Okay, then it's time, so let's move on to the next presentation.
Thank you.
You can also use Slack channel for discussion or questions and comments. The next presenter is David Frizzle. The title of the presentation is Design of a Music Recognition, Encoding, and Transcription Online Tool. If you are ready, please start the presentation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Well, my name is David Rizzo. I come from the University of Alicante in Spain, and I'm going to describe our musical recognition research tool named Muret in its current and online version. Well, as we know, OMR defines the systems that can recognize and read music from images. OMR problem still remains unsolved. As an example, with this simple example, most tools produce garbage. It's useless information. In a case that should be simple, the mensural notation, for that just one notable tool named Aruspix addresses it. However, it's unmaintained nowadays, and it does not scale to recognize new kinds of manuscripts, other types of sources. So, our proposal is named Muret. It stands for Music and Recognition, Encoding, and Transcription because the tool performs all these steps. Our main aim is to research on optical music recognition using machine learning algorithms. This is what the tool was designed for, but as it works, it's being used now for transcribe real collections of music in several notations. As you see, you get a set of images, you can get the final score, digital score for them. Muret covers the whole workflow from the input set of images as input, and you get the final score, as I have said before. For integrating it with academic and research institutions, we support IIIF. The most important thing of our approach is that we use exactly the same approach for all notation types and all document types. We don't need any kind of specific constraints or resolutions for the input images. So we can work with very low resolution images. Being machine learning, can learn from unseen sources. It works on the browser, for example Chrome, but models have to be trained on big machines with GPUs. In this presentation, I will focus on the tool, not on the OMR models themselves, because the tool is created in order to be able to use different neural network architectures. In fact, we use several of them. Currently, it works with monodic staves, both in wide mensural notation and modern notation, recognizing music from handwritten and typeset scores. This is the whole workflow of the tool, from transcribing a word from the collection management to obtaining the final exporting and encoding format. I will explain briefly all of these steps. We use first collections to separate projects and institutions. Collections can have sub-collections, and inside we have all the documents in the collection to be transcribed. Inside this document we have images that you can visualize using this table view or using thumbnails, and you can rearrange images, creating sections. Very useful for example when we have to transcribe operas or masses, or you have to sort them because usually the input images are not sorted according to the correct ordering. Well, I have recorded a short video of the next steps I will explain. First, the user does a document analysis to extract the significant regions in it. As it is correct, the user transcribes using an end-to-end fashion the contents inside this stuff. As he finds that's a wrong symbol, the user corrects it. Besides, finds that's an extra dot, the user deletes it. And if we find that's a missing accidental, he adds it and positions in the correct position. And finally, we convert that into a final encoding. This is more or less the overview of what the system does with the steps. No? So now, in more detail, before doing the document analysis, the user can rotate automatically the work, because sometimes the system works better with that, even though the models are trained using data augmentation. Then you can choose between trained models to do this step and all the steps, so that you can get the different regions of interest, for example, the capital letters, the steps, and the lyrics. Then the second step that now we are doing manually, but we are working on having it done automatically. We have to link each part of the image to its instrument or voice, so that when we have finished, we can see the layout of the different voices. And this information is essential in order to be able to score up everything at the last step. Depending on the collection, the part distribution is different. We support now incipit books, where each staff is a different entry. We can work on compilations, where each page or every 2 pages belongs to a different song. Or typical choir books like this one from the Guatemala collection, where you have the different voices scattered across the different pages. Other kind of works are possible, but partially supported. We are starting to work with them. For example, this opera from the 18th century, we are building a huge handwritten training dataset using the Didone project, or the typical voice and piano accompaniment scores. No? So these are partially supported right now. Well, for the OMR, there are mainly three different approaches. The first one is to retrieve the primitives, for example, the note head, the stem, the hook, for example, in a note. The other one is to get the final encoding directly from the input image. And our approach is to have something in the middle, no? To extract meaningful symbols, musical symbols, without musical meaning. I will explain that. We name this approach agnostic because directly graphical symbols are found without full semantics. For example, these two sharps are recognized equally as a sharp, regardless their musical meaning. Or the akiakatura here, it's retrieved as just everything is the same symbol. Finally, the symbols are getting their musical meaning to be finally transcribed in the final encoding. An advantage of using agnostic representation is that the correction of the OMR output can be accomplished by non-experts or with partial information. For example, what's that dot? Okay, this is mensural notation. This dot can be named punctum, it's a separation on an augmentation dot, can be have two missions. So, in In agnostic, we don't differentiate both functions, it's just a dot. And in later phrases, with more information, we will be able to disambiguate the situation. And the most important advantage of using this approach is that we have a small alphabet to be recognized. These are all of the symbols. We have just 65 symbols. And one interesting thing is that we use the same symbols both for all notation, mensural notation, and modern notation. So just we have, for example, trained with mensural notation, and we can apply that to modern notation, and it works. So, and besides, it's easier to do the transfer from mensural notations into modern and the reverse way. For example, this symbol, the four first symbols are minimas in mensural notation. The other two are half notes, and every one of them are recognized as a half symbol. If we wanted to do that the same with semantic information, you should add the pitch information, and we would get a very big alphabet that's very hard to be recognized by the mensural models, for the artificial intelligence models. Well, for doing the agnostic recognition, we can work in a symbol by symbol basis. So you add a symbol, you choose the recognizer, and you get a symbol, or the user can draw the stroke of the symbol, and you get the final encoding of that. No, you can use the end function. You recognize the symbol recognized here all the symbols as a whole, as you can see here, to be finally converted into a meaningful musical sequence in MEMS or kern format. We use two possible models, an automaton or machine learning integration technologies, to convert from agnostic to semantic. In all cases, in a moment, we have everything synchronized. If you are working with mensural notation, you can convert it into modern notation. Well, in the case of parse-based manuscript, they have to align to build the final score, and we add clues and means to help in correcting in an offline mode. The final step is to export into any standard system, like the score-based MEI or the parse-based MEI with facsimile information that can be used to be exported to other tools like MP Editor or MEI Thread. User can annotate his progress, and for example, user says that has finished a work or is in progress. We have seen before that the user can select different models to extract the information from the image. So in order to do that, all the different collections that have been tagged in Muret can be used to train the system. You download them, you do the training offline, and you upload again the model to be used in further recognition projects. Muret is devised to be interactive, to obtain high quality encodings, but it can be used to do approximate transcriptions in an unattended automatic mode. So the user downloads a file representing the whole work, and then a script is run offline that usually takes 1 second per image, and generates a JSON that had to be uploaded again to the system. Now here we are marking everything as in progress because it has to be still corrected by the musicologist. Well, in order to do user-centered OMR, we study the behavior of the users by encoding all the users' actions. We have now, for example, users, times, and operations categorized in categories, not to be able to study them. Using this tool, we are encoding the whole collection of the mensural books in the National Library in Spain. So far, in 5 months of real work, just a person has encoded around 7,000 images. we're using this usual iterative incremental approach, so the user uses the pre-trained model, the user uses the OMR, corrects the output, and then a new model is used to tag the new collections. So after iteration, the times are better. No? The user has to make less corrections on the output. To finish, a little the next steps we have already started. We have a new version for the next year with the usability and the user interface improved. We are moving from Angular to React, and we are moving everything in the business logic from the backend to the front end. We are adding different deep learning technologies to be run in the browser, like PyTorch or the models ONNX. An important thing is that there are many restrictions of the models for the models to be run on the browser. We are getting very big in training datasets now because of the collections that have been used transcribed in Muret. We are now starting to work in Muret also with modern notations like piano staff and orchestral scores. And an important thing is that now the user has to, in order to detect the mistakes, have to check visually everything. So we are trying to do it automatically using language models. And we are improving the transferring from the pre-trained models to the new collections. And that's all. Thank you so much.
Any questions or comments?
So, can your system or model can be extended to other kind of music, non-Western music?
Yes. In fact, we are moving it now to Gregorian chant in different models with exactly the same technology, getting the system with pairs of images and its transcription. The system is able to learn it. It depends on the quality and the quantity of input pairs for the model to be trained.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that you use different neural network architectures. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, where there are, depending on the phase, we are using different approaches. For example, for the document analysis is the region destruction of the region. We were using a network that tries to find for each pixel if it's a pixel that belongs to let's see, the background or the staff. Then we are moving that, we have used the typical YOLO architecture to detect it, and it works. Well, this is for the document analysis. In the case of the detection of the different nodes, for the individual symbols and the position of the symbols, we use a CRNN network. In the case of detecting from the end to end the whole stuff, we use a CTC. It's basically a CRNN guide by a model that's behind that constraints. And for example, something I have not told here because I didn't have too much time. For example, we are detecting also which pages are covers, indexes, and this kind of things, and how to discard it. And we use just kinds of CRNN in this case as well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the presentation. The user interface looks fantastic. I'm wondering, you have mentioned the different methods, so you are using an agnostic method. And do you have experience with the others? So how's the error prediction rate,
Yeah.
for example, to image and then the score.
Yes. Let's see. If you use primitives, it's easier for the system to detect them, but the difficulty comes when you have to translate the different primitives to the final music score, because you have to create some grammars and something is very difficult to be done. If you transcribe, we have now experiences to transcribe piano music directly from the scores to kern, and the difficulty there is that the alphabet is so big and the possibilities are so high that you need huge training data sets, and we get in troubles on that. So this is the middle position, and it seems that it's a right approach for doing that.
Thank you.
The last question. The ladies.
Hi, so my question was quite similar to the previous question, because I've used OMR recognition, so OMR software before, including Play Score, and Sound Slice has got a new one that's come out recently, and I always found that the outputs were quite, they were mainly MIDI outputs, and they were sort of different from the actual score. So when I say different, the accuracy, like it would be good at sort of outputting MIDI, but it wasn't following along with the score. So it was separating that. I'm just wondering how accurate it was. So.
Okay, you have there are two steps. First is we have another model here that extracts the whole music from the whole score, but I will not tell about it because it's totally experimental. But in the case of the document analysis, the region extraction, there's more or less about 2% of error on the different of detecting pixels. Okay. Well, not pixels, but more or less. Okay, that. And in the case of the end-to-end, I mean the detection of the symbols in a staff, we use the typical measurement metric, this named CER, the character error rate, and we are getting, depending on the kind of input. For example, in printed, in typeset music, distorted artificially, and having as an input the RISM database, we get a 3% of error. In the case of, for example, the printed, the unwritten music, it depends on the number of pages that have been already tagged. That we can start from 20% error, because the system does not understand what's that symbols, and we are getting about the 5%. But one interesting thing about that is that in many cases the most important thing is not the error, the number of errors, but the kind of errors that because if the error is very difficult to be fixed, it's not practice.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. If you have further questions, you can start to discuss. Thank you. Thank you. Next presentation is the final presentation of this session, Creative Music Systems. The presenter is Ryota Miyabayashi, and the title is First Generation by Reverse Generation Authoring Flag and Answer in Japanese Mathematics. You are ready? Please.
Okay. So thank you for introduction. So I'm Ryota Miyabayashi from University of Hyogo. So my research title is First Generation by Reverse Generation concerning rhyme and answer in Japanese rap battles. So so do you know rap battles? In rap battles, two rappers perform improvised rap. So for example, here are two rappers. So a rapper sings, "Oh, my rhyme hit your head and the train." So immediately, so after that, so it's like toy train. So you don't know my pain. So this is a rap battle, okay? So Laplace ends after repeating this response several times. So one time of the rap is called a burst, okay, burst. So, but such a rapato is difficult. So because the response burst must be made immediately after the opponent's burst. So this is difficult, especially for beginners. So rapid beginners is like so difficult. So there are two important factors in a burst: line and answer. So the first important factor is line. So line is a word that has the same terminal vowel sequence with another word. So for example, train is a line. So for pain, train and pain. So because they have the same aim, okay, so it's a line. So in the verse, if rhymes are contained, related as good verse, okay. So the second factor is answer. So the verse should be related to the opponent's verse. So because rap battle is communication, dialogue, conversation. So for example, rapper A sings, so it's like my line hit you hard on train. So rapper B responds, my line hit you hard on it's like train. So this is so mentioned train. Okay, so this is answer. So here our research goal. So our research goal is automatic verse generation. So the generated verse should be contains rights and answers. So if we can so propose a method. So this method can automatically generate response verse to human verse. So it is useful for the beginners practice. Okay, so our study targets Japanese apparatus. So although English examples shown in this presentation, but the current method deals with Japanese only. So I show the demo video. So in this video, first you can hear a human voice, and that is input for the system. So after that, you can hear a synthesized voice that is generated by our proposed method. Okay, so let's play. Oh. あんたじゃない勝ちたいなら今3分もこいつはフェイク拡散希望マジで腐って俺はここに拡散希望そうじゃない俺はイケてるマジで正規志望俺を否定をしてるんじゃないよみんなが見てきた理想俺は否定して見てるだけの未来思考言っただけじゃねえ俺が持ってるだけの魅力そう言われても興味はないな俺の利用脱出して確かに無限の記憶お前が負けるのは俺は自分の理想this is our proposed methods can generate such pass, response pass. Okay, so this is the overview. So I will explain the two topics. So first is the Japanese rap battle corpus we made. So next, the verse generation method. Okay. So first, this is Japanese rap battle corpus. So it was made by transcribing Japanese rap battle videos. So it contains 6,791 verses used in 1,287 rap battles. Okay, so this is an overview of proposed method. Our method consists of three components, and the first part is the word section for line. So since the generated verse should be contains line, so we select lines. So the second step is rap battle sentence generation. So we generate a rap sentence. So the verse it can contain the verse in lines. So the third part is the verse construction. So we construct the verse by reordering the natural construct. Okay. So I will explain one section for line. So the first input bus is my T2 has an train. So in our method, the last word of the opponent bus is extracted first. So in this case, we extract train. So this word is called the target word. So target word means last word. So next, we try to find other words that has the same bar sequence with the target word. For example, so pain and again rain. So these are lines. So next, our method generates a bus that consists of 8 sentences. So the target word train is used as a line is the first sentence. So we need to select 7 words for the other 7 sentences with okay. So this word selection is done by calculating semantic similarity. So we use the first text. So each word is represented as a vector. We calculated the cosine similarity between word vectors. So we select the top 7 words with the highest similarity. So we get 8 lines. Yeah. The next, I explain rap sentence generation. So we use each of 8 lines words to generate a rap sentence. So the line word should be placed at the end of the sentence. Okay. So we use encoder-decoder model for the sentence generation. So the encoder takes a sentence as the input, and the decoder generates a sentence as output. For example, so input is "and shape your brain," so output is "I shake the crowd." So typical encoder-decoder model generates a sentence in the forward direction. So we need to place a specific line word at the end of the sentence. But generation is the forward direction has a difficulty. So we propose a method to generate a sentence in the reverse direction. So we can easily control the last word in the generated sentence. So after generations, the order of the word in the sentence is reversed. We get forward direction, so a normal sentence. So I explained the bus construction. So we now have 8 generated rap sentences. To construct bus, we reorder those 8 rap sentences in a natural order for the bus. For example, so it's like a toy train, and that body that gets dirty in the rain and gets dirty and try again. So it's so natural order. So the first sentence of the generated bus is a sentence that contains the target words. So it's like the train. So to determine the next sentence from the remaining sentences for each sentence. So we calculate a score that indicates how naturally it connects with the previous sentence. So it's like toy train, and next is that body that gets dirty in the rain. So good. So we use to score how naturally the sentences are ordered. So 2 sentences are input to word, and the score is predicted. So but was fine-tuned using sentence validator in the rap battle corpus. So we created 5,374 positive pairs and the same size negative pairs. So this is evaluation. So we compared the proposed method and the comparison method. So our method generates a sentence in the reverse direction, but the comparison method generates a sentence in forward direction. So we use in the comparison method, we use a same corpus of training, and we use the same bus construction method. Okay, so we generate response buses for 100 test data using the proposed and comparison method. So those input buses are not contained the training data. Okay, so we evaluated the 200 generated buses. So this is detail of evaluation. So we use 3 criteria for the evaluation. So natural length of rap, the quality of write, and quality of answer. So we ask the 2 evaluators to conduct 7-point scale evaluation. So 1 is very poor, so 7 is very good. So the evaluators are rap battle experts. They have worked rap battles for over 5 years. So this is evaluation results. So the proposed method outperforms the comparison method in all criteria. So in particular, the quality of line of the proposed method is much higher than the comparison method. So differences in scores for the naturalness of rap and the quality of answer are smaller. So this is the distribution of scores for 3 criteria. For the quality of line, the proposed method receives score of 4, the most frequency. And it also receives scores of 5 and 6 sometimes. For the naturalness of rap and the quality of answer, the proposed method receives many scores of 2 and 3. So this is an example for the input and each sentences by proposed method, generated proposed method and comparison method. So this input, the last, the target word is kibo. So kibo means hope. So Japanese pronunciation is kibo. So here the vowel sequence is io. Okay, so the generated words by the proposed method contain many lines, such as kibo, so shibo, so riso, so many lines. So on the other hand, so the comparison method don't contain lines. Okay, so this is conclusions. We made a rap battle corpus consists of 6,791 rap battle verses. So we propose a verse generation method. The generated verse can contain rhymes and answers. So we compare the proposed method with the forward generation method, and the proposed method shows better results. That's all. So thank you for thank you so much.
Is there any questions from please?
Hi, thanks for the great presentation. I think your work is really nice. Not very familiar with rap battles, but I think there's usually a winner, right? I'm wondering if you have that sort of data or metadata in your data set. So could you, for example, fine-tune a model, with the rhymes or the verses that win most of the times? And also if you have, I think I'm curious of how you got the data, because I think sometimes from the audio you can tell by the amount of applauses if the verse was good or very good or very bad. So I think that would be interesting, to augment the data set. Thanks.
Oh, so it means so. Sorry. Sorry. I explained the example of rap battle corpus, right?
Yes.
Okay. So rap battle corpus are written by Japanese. So I don't know English example. Okay.
We can talk. We can discuss it later. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And let's move on to the next question. That gentleman on the back.
Thank you very much. I have actually 2 questions. The first one is very short. In your demo you showed,
yes.
Was this live generated responses?
From
your model? Were the verses live generated?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Did the verses by your model, were they live generated while the performance was going?
Real time. Not real time. So it's not real time.
Okay,
Yes.
that's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
Yes. And the second question is, did you consider comparing it to ChatGPT?
Okay, sorry. So, hard question. Yeah. So, we tried to generate bars in rap battles. So, but the answer is good. But so lines are not contained. So in Japanese. So yes, we tried. But so lines is not very well, right?
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Yes.
I want to know if it's possible to extend your model to multisyllabic rhyme by selecting 2 target words by sentence.
Big rhyme. Long rhyme.
Yes, with 2 words.
Yes. So it is so future work. So we want to generate 2 long lines. So 2 words, 3 words, 4 words. So but I can't not now. So
You don't have to rhyme. It's okay.
Thank you very much.
I was wondering, you showed in your results several types of evaluation, including quality of answer, and I think this doesn't take the rhyme into account. But then you said that in forward generation, it performed worse with quality of answer. Reverse generation was because of the rhyme. So do you have an explanation why it also performs better with quality of answer?
So it means why quality of answer is wrong.
Is rhyme included? Is quality of rhyme a part of quality of answer somehow?
Sorry, could you repeat more simply?
From what I understand, quality of answer is about the meaning more than the sonority, so it's more meaning and less rhyme.
Yes.
But it's better with reverse generation than forward generation.
So
maybe you just don't have an explanation why it's better with reverse.
What were your questions? Do you have the questions? You asked people. You asked 2 people.
Yes, yes, yes.
What were the questions?
Question.
What did you ask them? 何が良かったって聞いて、質問は何だった？
質問。generated us. So we asked two evaluators. So.
So what were the actual questions? That will explain.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I chose right. So this right. So we asked two evaluators. So
okay, sorry. Yeah, please discuss after this. There's coffee break. Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's all for this session. Please give a round of applause to people who contributed and everyone. Thank you. The next session will be 4:20. Enjoy coffee.
change the volume on the AV? Can you change it here? The volume on the AV is too loud. This one? Yeah. Perfect.
Hello? Yes. So welcome to the second session with the CMMR. So this session is about cognitive science and skill science for music. So there will be 3 presentations in this session. So each presentation is, I think, 15 minutes. And then we have 5 minutes for questions, right? Okay. So the first one out is from Max Graf from Queen Mary. Is going to talk about combining vision and EMG-based hand tracking for extended reality musical instruments.
Hello, hello. Hello. Thanks for the introduction. I'm Max, and I'm going to talk about our paper combining vision and EMG-based hand tracking for extended reality musical instruments that I've done with my supervisor Mathieu Barté at Queen Mary University of London. So to start with a quick overview, I'm going to introduce my topic and my broader research topic, and then talk about the actual motivation for this paper. Then I'm going to go over the background and the contributions that we make with this paper, the data collection, the model that we trained, how we evaluated it, and where to go from here. So to begin with, my PhD, my research is about designing, testing, and evaluating extended reality musical instruments, or XRMIs for short, and specifically XRMIs that are inspired by the dynamics of keyboard instruments. So I'm a keyboard player, and I'm looking at instruments that are inspired by like how you play the keyboard. Just as a clarification, so when I say XRMIs, I mean it as a kind of umbrella term, encompassing both like mixed reality musical instruments where you, in all of these you wear a head-mounted device, right? And with mixed reality you can see through and like experience the real world around you and place virtual objects inside of it. And with VRMIs, like virtual reality musical instruments, you're fully immersed in the virtual world. And my research covers kind of both, but I'm tending more towards the mixed reality side. Which brings me directly to the motivation of this paper, which is a video where you're going to see an instrument that I made and a failure case of the system that I'm working with, which then inspired what this whole paper is all about. So here you can see the instrument projected onto a table. And I'm going to execute the same finger movements, but just move further up. And the further I go, the more you realize that it doesn't pick up on all of the notes, but it should. And then I move physically closer, and suddenly it works again.
that's terrible. It should always work. And that basically is the inspiration and motivation behind this paper. So as part of my research, I've identified this XR hand tracking that we use in these head-mounted displays as a bottleneck for accurate musical control. And that's mostly because these XR headsets rely on vision-based tracking methods, most of them do. And these vision-based tracking methods, where you have a camera that tracks your hands and your fingers, have a couple of failure cases, including self-occlusion, which is when fingers or the object you want to track is occluded by parts of the hand, as we just saw in the video. As I moved my hand further away from the headset, the angle changed, and some of my fingers were starting to be occluded, and then that leads to it not being able to track it properly, and then it doesn't pick up on everything I'm playing. So the objective of this paper is then to enhance the control accuracy of these instruments by using external devices to augment the hand tracking. And we want to do this, or we did this, by integrating surface electromyography data with the vision-based tracking, so literally like combining the two tracking approaches in a multimodal fashion. A little bit of background. We can ask the question, is SEMG even a good alternative to vision-based tracking? And the answer is, as so often, it depends. So there's a couple of studies on surface electromyography and deep learning for hand pose estimation, so like estimating the 3D position and rotation of our fingers and joints. But the one of the problems is that many of them require complex tracking setups, and many of them don't share their training data and code, so it's pretty hard to implement them yourself if you want to use them as someone like me. And then you can refer back to datasets, of which we have a couple, but here for many you require like specialized and sometimes expensive EMG equipment, where you have like 100 electrodes that you need to place along your arm, which is complicated to set up, to say the least. And again, I ran into similar issues here where many of them just don't share how you can actually implement it for yourself. So yeah, let's go to the core idea of everything. We want to combine this vision-based hand tracking data that we get from the XR device. So like we use the 3D hand position and orientation in the room in relation to the user. And we combine it with fine-grained tracking data which we obtain for all of the individual fingers and joints through surface electromyography, which then yields this multimodal system. And our contributions here are a software and deep learning pipeline for data collection, for feature extraction, and then for modeling of this surface electromyography data, focusing on 8 finger joints, which are highlighted here. So we have the proximal interphalangeal joints, and the metacarpophalangeal joints, which are here on the knuckles. And the reason why we're focusing on these 8 is that the tip joints / positions we can relatively accurately infer from the rotations of the other 2 per finger that we're tracking. And the reason why the thumb is excluded is that we're working with wearable devices which are located on the forearm, and thumb movements are primarily conditioned by muscles that you find in the hand, so it's notoriously hard to model thumb movement and rotation through these arm-worn surface electromyography devices. Okay, so we want to model 8 joint rotations from a window of surface electromyography data. So how did we collect the data? We used the Thelmic Labs Neo armband, which you can see here, for capturing EMG data. It has 8 channels that go around the armband, and you put it on your forearm, and then you get a stream of data. Nice. For the actual 3D hand pose data, we use the actual headset, which removes the need of additional devices, because under perfect viewing conditions, so when the headset is actually capable of seeing the hand perfectly, the tracking is really good. It's just that in the failure cases, it fails. So we captured data at 50 Hz, that's the maximum tracking frequency of the headset, and recorded approximately 30 minutes of hand movements using gestures and finger movements that are typical for both VR and then more specifically extended reality musical instrument interactions. Okay. All of this data then goes into a rather complicated deep learning pipeline where we have this window of data along the channels, the EMG channels, on which we then extract a couple of features, both locally and globally, and feed them into a final layer concatenated, and we get 8 joint rotations out. And a little bit more specifically, so we have these, along the channel dimension, we have 8 EMG channels that come from the MIO armband. And we look at, so remember we have a sampling frequency of 50 Hertz, and we look at this global window here is 150 samples. So at every time step, which also runs in real time, so 50 times per second, we look at the last 3 seconds of EMG data, extract a couple of global features, and in addition, we take like the last second, the last 50 samples, which are fed into an LSTM and also a fully collected layer. And yes, the last thing here is that we also extract wavelets across the global window in order to get a representation of the data at varying degrees of frequency or resolution. And yes, what we get out is at every time step, 50 times per second, 8 finger joint rotations which determine the fine-grained position of all of the fingers. Okay, so we evaluated this by comparing this multimodal approach that we have. So we take the global orientation and position of the hand and our fine-grained finger data, and we compare that to the purely vision-based tracking system using an external device here, the Leap Motion, for ground truth data. And we devised 6 tasks that were executed in 2 conditions. So first, the ideal viewing condition. That's when the XR headset and the vision-based tracking algorithm can perfectly capture the hand and sees all of the joints perfectly, and then under self-occlusion of the hand, so what we saw in the very beginning. We performed these tasks 3 times across 2 days to account for the variability of the actual EMG data. And we quantified the occlusion through an occlusion measure, which I'm going to show you briefly. So again, we look at these joints, and for each of these 8 joints, we have an occlusion measure that we take at every sample point during the tasks, and then aggregate over the tasks. And that looks a little bit like that. So you can see the 3 cameras indicate where the XR headset is, and you can see my hand. And the green lines indicate that the camera can see the joint perfectly. And then as I move my hand away, like in the beginning, some of these lines turn red, which indicates that the finger or the joint is now occluded. And that allows us to quantify the occlusion or the degree of occlusion for all of the tasks. Okay. The actual tasks are, as I said, 6, and they include like general and a little bit more specific finger movements that we investigate for the XR interaction. So we start with a flat hand, and then we make a fist, and we flex our individual fingers at various speeds and degrees of flexion. And then the last one is basically a finger drumming task, like you would play on a piano, that we did in order to capture whether or assess whether the system could work with faster movements as well. And what we found is that in the occluded condition, the multimodal tracking system showed significantly lower deviations from the actual ground truth that was captured by the Leap Motion across all tasks, and improved the tracking accuracy by 5 to 15 degrees across all fingers, which translates to approximately 3 to 20 millimeters in fingertip accuracy, depending on how big your hand actually is. And in the full view condition, so when the XR headset can optimally track the finger joints, the multimodal system performed worse, which is kind of to be expected. So this is just a graph that shows exactly how the differences between like the finger joint angle errors per task. And because I'm a little bit short of time, I'll just skip over this. Here I just want to emphasize the degrees of occlusion from the occlusion measure that I just described before. So you can see that in the full view condition, it ranges from about 2% to about 27%, depending on the task, which tells you for how long the finger joints were on average not visible to the vision-based hand tracking system. And in the occluded condition, it ranges from 59 to 93. So yeah, lastly, I have a very short demo for you to get a feel of what this actually looks like. And what you're going to see is two hands, and both hands execute exactly the same finger movement. And on the left, you will see my hand being tracked by the vision-based system, and on the right, you will see my hand with the multimodal system. And you can see that it's a little bit slow and a little bit or gets a couple of things wrong, in addition to being slightly noisy, which is one of the bigger problems when working with EMG data. But on average, it picks up on what we do pretty well. So the main takeaways that I want to give you is that like multimodal hand tracking can work really well and outperforms vision-based hand tracking under the occluded condition, which supports our idea of like using surface electromyography and integrating it with these head-mounted devices and their tracking algorithms to improve the hand tracking in those conditions. In the full view condition, the vision-based system performs optimally with fewer errors, which is okay because like in the future when we actually like implement this and use it with the instruments, we can just use the occlusion measure to like decide what kind of tracking system we want to depend on. So this study should be seen as a proof of concept for this idea that we developed, and in the future we want to collect a comprehensive SEMG dataset with a lot of users and much more data essentially, and then further explore the deep learning models for generalizable representations of this SEMG data, and also obviously integrate these models that we develop with the RMIs that we built and assess their impact on the usability of these instruments. Thank you.
Any questions? Yes, several. One in the back and is there a mic somewhere? Okay.
So, I've been, a student of mine actually has been using for his dissertation, for PhD dissertation, MediaPipe as a hand recognition system, and it performs very well, and it's very cheap, and you can just play an instrument and map whatever finger movement to whatever electronics you want, for instance. So I'm wondering if you have compared this kind of model with your approach.
MediaPipe, you mean the model?
The Google.
Yeah, exactly.
Motion recognition.
I mean, you can compare it, but MediaPipe is exactly as the XR-based tracking systems, so it's vision-based, so as soon as you rotate your hand away from the camera, the fingers are gone. Yeah. Like, it can still track your hand position, right? But no, we haven't like directly compared it with it, but I assume it will suffer from the same problems as the tracking algorithms that we find on the headsets.
I missed the first minutes of your presentation, I'm sorry, but so the idea is that eventually you will provide a performer with such system, and then you can, given the mapping of the position of the finger, then other events happen, or what? How do you envision this? Because with the vision-based system, which you have a web camera, it's very easy. The performer just plays, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, true. You could always use an external camera and hook it up, that's true. But the way I see it is to have something that's minimally invasive and also very easy to use, right? The armband that we saw is still relatively bulky, but it's pretty compact. And in a perfect world, I would have like a small thin wearable that I can just take with me like an Apple Watch or something, and that basically satisfies this very specific demand that we have. That I have my instrument and I have my layout, and I can move my hands freely without ever having to worry about something not being accurately tracked. So that's where I want to go, or what I want to go for. And then, having an external camera and mounting it and, moving it around. I mean, yes, you can do it, but I guess it's a little bit tricky, involved.
There was a question at the end there.
Have you tried piano vision on MetaQuest?
I've seen it, yeah.
When I tried that, it was impossible to play complex music with that. What level of difficulty does your method can play?
What level?
Yes.
What do you mean, level of?
How difficult can your method can handle the?
Yeah, okay. As of now, I mean, as you've seen in the demo, I would say very low to medium. So it's not very robust yet, which is also why we need much more data.
But better than the piano vision?
Better than piano vision? I don't necessarily think so at the moment. I mean, we can try it out. But, I mean, when you say piano vision, you mean the mode of piano vision where you play without an actual keyboard, right? Yeah. I've not experienced it yet. I have no idea how well or badly it works. But, I mean, did you see the video in the beginning? So like, the normal tracking, the system notwithstanding, already works really well if you have the right angle. So if you play notes, objects, musical objects that are close to you. It's just when you move far out, it gets tricky. And with piano vision, I actually would have assumed it works really well because you play like a one-dimensional piano along a line, right? But yeah, I don't really know.
I have a tiny question too. I think this approach is really interesting, and maybe do you think it could be also used with dancers, or measuring other muscles in other parts of the body and so on? Or is the signal is really noisy that you measure from the muscle activity?
Noise is something you can work around, I would say, but I mean it depends on what you would want to do with it. Like if you want to infer like finger joint angles from centers across the body, I think you're going to have a hard time. But if you want to infer other aspects of movement, then yes, definitely. But it always depends on the relationship between the muscles that you're actually measuring from and the moves you want to predict, I think. So for dancers, if you have like, I don't know, sensors on your thighs, for example, and your arms, I would assume that you could infer quite a lot of like pose from that. But I haven't looked into body poses yet.
Okay, I guess we're late, so we should proceed to the next speaker, who is
Thank you.
So the last talk is by a local Japanese team, and it's about exploring patterns of skill gain and loss on long-term training and non-training in the rhythm game. So it's Ayan who's going to present, is that it? Yeah, maybe? You're Ayan?
Ayane Sasaki.
Ayane. Hey. So the floor is yours.
My name is Ayane Sasaki. Today I'd like to talk about exploring patterns of skill gain and loss in rhythm games. Let me show you the outline of presentation. Our study aims to clarify the relationship between skill gain and loss in rhythm game for beginners. By observing score changes and timing judgment classifications during both the skill gain and loss phases. Because of this, we also seek to discover and classify patterns of skill loss. Because of this, we had participants play the rhythm game continuously and recorded score changes. By analyzing the changes in score during both the skill gain and loss phases, we identified 3 distinct patterns of skill loss. In recent years, improvements in human-computer interaction technology have made it possible to create many learning support systems. These systems are designed to help learners acquire skills that involve physical movements like tennis, golf, calligraphy, playing musical instruments, and singing. In sports science, on the assumption that athletes train every day, research has focused on the relationship between sleep and memory consolidation through motor skill learning. Playing music games do not need the qualities and training of top athletes to achieve a high score. They do need to train to some extent. Playing music games, also it has a mechanism to consistently and stably assess a player's level of skill. In the next slide, I'll introduce data from related studies. Previous studies have investigated memorization and forgetting in tasks that do not involve physical actions, such as memorizing words. A common learning support framework involves adjusting the difficulty of skill gain based on the learner's level, providing a sense of accomplishment during training and fostering motivation. On the other hand, though research has explored the cognitive aspects of skill improvement, it is important to consider skill loss. By studying both skill gain and loss, we can develop a more accurate cognitive model of skill gain. So, to gain and lose skill involving physical movement requires long-term experimentation. This is about the flow of the experiment. Participants practice rhythm games and stop training after improving. When participants consistently scored over the threshold, they enter the non-training phase, during which they did not play the game. Observing gain and loss over such a long period is expected to yield essential data and findings. For our experiments, we used a spare beat. It's a music game player, a music game simulator. It runs on web browsers and is playable on PCs, smartphones, and tablets. It has scored from 0 to 1 million points. The spare beat screen mainly consists of notes and a judgment line. Spirit has 4 types of timing judgments for key presses: just, rush, cool, and miss. Each judgment depends on the accuracy of the player's timing when pressing the keys. As indicated by the scale, just is correct, rush is fast, cool is slow, and miss is anything that does not fall into any of these categories. Next, let's talk about the experiment. There are 5 participants in the study, ranging from beginner to intermediate, university, and graduate students. None of the participants had played spare beats before, and then the songs were set according to the ability of the participants. This is a difficulty level that the participants find a little difficult. Next, on experimental instructions. Participants were asked to play their assigned pieces, and their scores were recorded. Next, they trained for 10 to 20 minutes, and then played again. They trained daily following a training routine. When participants consistently scored over 900,000 points, they entered a non-training phase during which they did not play the game. After this phase, they played their assigned piece once more, and their scores were recorded. This non-training set was repeated as necessary. The reason why the threshold for stop training point was set to be 900,000 points. This graph collects the results that exceeded 900,000 points during the experiment. Even in the absence of missed points, if there is a lot of rush and cool, the score will not reach 900,000 points. The same is true in the other way around. So more than 900,000 points can be said to have gained skills, and this score was used as a threshold. In the next few slides, we're showing you experimental results. The pre-training and post-training scores for each of the 5 participants from the first day to the 6th day are shown in figure. Though there were individual differences, the results from day 7 and beyond also are similar to this graph, with scores increasing as the training continued. During the training phase, we focus only on the post-training scores in order to investigate the evolution of scores until the skill is mastered. The vertical axis represents the score, and the horizontal axis the number of experimental days. Figure shows a scatter plot of the post-training scores only under linear approximation. Participants 1 to 3, who had trained for 10 to 16 days, and they had a slope indicating relatively rapid progress. Participants 4 and 5 took time for these participants to reach a certain level of proficiency. The training periods were 34 days and 50 days, so progress was gradual. Figures show the score transition for each of the trials in the non-training set. Table also shows the results of applying the linear approximation to each trial and score for the non-training set. Participants 4 and 5 didn't lose much score, and the variation was small. But participants 2 and 3 had a lot of variation. From this, I classified 3 patterns of skill loss, but participants file is not classified this time because the small number of experiments was only 3. Based on the changes in the scores of the participants and the breakdown of their judgments, we classified the patterns of skill loss into the following 3 major categories. In the graph, left vertical axis is score, right one is rate of judgment. The horizontal axis shows the number of experiments. Also, the colored area on the left-hand side is the training phase, and on the right-hand side is the non-training phase. This is a pattern of maintaining for a while and then gradually losing the skill. Participants maintained a high score of around 900,000 points after the non-training phase, but it dropped once at a session and lose again. We will continue to examine trends and correlations in the breakdown of scoring decisions. Next pattern of fluctuating scores. The scores of participants 2 and 3 show relatively large and repeated ups and downs. The reason for the larger range of fluctuation in participant 2's score than in the 3 score may be due to the instability of the miss rate during the training phase. Participant 3 has less miss, but Lash and Ku are not stable. Note that both participants 2 and 3 trained for a relatively short phase of time, only 10 days. Last pattern of not easily losing the skill. Class shows that participants' fourth score was the most stable, and therefore that this participant exhibited a pattern of not easily losing the skill. Participants' fourth score and percentage of lash, cool, and miss grew steadily in the second half of the training phase. Empirically, we feel that skills that accumulate steadily during the training phase are less likely to be forgotten during phases of inactivity. And participants 4 seems to fall into this pattern. Conclusion and prospects. In this study, we analyzed and classified skill loss patterns as a preparatory step for constructing a model for predicting the loss of acquired skills in rhythm games. As a result, 3 types of skill loss patterns were extracted. Future work includes investigating whether these skill loss patterns are appreciable to other people and whether they can be generalized. So, we will increase the number of participants and continue the experiment to confirm what kind of skill loss patterns exist. I'd like to close the presentation. Thank you for listening.
Any questions? Marcelo.
Yeah, it's working. Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. Interesting. I was wondering, learning depends on the difficulty of the task. I'm wondering, instead of more training, if adapting the interface of the game or adapting the task will somehow have an impact on learning. Have you looked at that?
So, please.
the task, how difficult the task is, will impact how easy it is to learn to play the game. Instead of more training, have you considered changing the task, adapting the interface of the game?
Now this study is each participant's one songs, but songs change more difficulty. Now, when CMMR2023 submissions studies, one song, number of songs, one song, but again, now.
Maybe you could answer in Japanese if it's easier, and then somebody could translate. Did you get the question? Did you understand what he meant? If the test was different, if the users used another interface, would it be different?
PC to
not this, another game? With another game, would it be the learning be different? Do you think? Yeah. I'm not good in Japanese, so sorry. But maybe somebody could translate the question.
インターフェースを書いたらどうなりますかっていう質問なんだけど、書いてないからあんまりわかんないですね。
Yes, instructions to participants on interfaces, tablets. If tablets, participants use tablets, do not change. So interface change. When interface change, I don't know from results.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Other difficult questions? Yeah, there is one. There is one in front here.
Besides skill loss, it would be interesting to look at maybe the retraining process. Have you thought about retraining? So you have training, loss, and then retraining. So I think the retraining perhaps will be faster, for example, than the initial training. So you probably you didn't mention retraining, but and it might take more longer, like 1 year perhaps, maybe. So I want to make an analogy to piano performance. So like when I learn a piece, it takes me a certain amount of time, but maybe 10 years later, I want to relearn the same piece, so I can learn it much faster than learning it the first time. So, do you want to do translation?
No, but I mean, obviously, it's not that long term, right? So.
Yeah, so when I learn, so I can keep it in my head for maybe a year, say, pretty good quality. Well, so go go to the participant number 4. So, because this one's hard. Yeah, this one. So in this case, the person hasn't forgotten too much yet. So it'd be interesting to wait longer. It goes down, down, down. But then you retrain them, and maybe it took them, this one person, so 23 times until they understood. So maybe when they forget, maybe it takes less time. But maybe too many words.
Yes. だからまたもうちょっとトレーニングしたらまた元に戻るかっていう質問です。
I think for this one, string phase again, so
どう思うかって自分でやってないから分かんないでしょうけど。
But they've studied loss, but it would be interesting to also afterwards study retraining.
We'll have to come back in 10 years, right?
Yeah. Well, it depends, like 1 year or something.
Okay. So I think time is up, so thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. So I don't know, but the staff will navigate you.
Oh, we have to go with them?
Probably yes. Okay.
Okay, the most important event is from now. I'd like to welcome you. It's not a big food, I'm sorry. This is not I expect you to go to dinner separately after that. This is just a light food and snack. But wine is enough, I think. Go down the slope, the shopping street, to the station, and on the right-hand side, you can find the campus of the University of Science of Tokyo. So, I believe that everyone wearing this kind of jacket knows the place. So please follow the person. If you are not confident, please about 5:45 from this building.
5:40.
5:40.
Okay, 5:40.
5:40. Okay.
5:40 we will depart. Okay.
Okay.
So the staff.
The address on the projector screen.
Yeah, just put an address out.
I'm sorry, so. Good train.